we welcome back Felix for a mini series within the series, which is a few episodes. We're going to chat about how to become a better player.
At last.
Yeah, at last. Yes, I've gotten lots of messages saying I'm ready to learn more and become better. So this is
Great.
exciting to do this.
Hopefully.
I'll be more of like guiding the chat, and Felix is gonna, I think, kind of be in charge of this little mini series here because he's got the experience, and I'm sure can help not only listeners but myself as well become better. So the first topic of becoming a better player in War Chest is
Mhm.
about bag management. So what is bag management in general? And maybe we can just start off about what that means, how it affects the game, and
Mhm.
then we'll talk about maybe some mistakes, and get into the advice, and then later on at the end we'll talk about why it's so important, what makes management so good,
Mhm.
and different combos and things
Okay.
specific to look out for.
Okay.
So we'll start off with the basic idea of what
So,
bag management is.
as everybody knows, you play the game with drawing coins from your bag. Okay. So, what we call bag management is the strategic choices you make, um, and the actions you take to remove some coins from the bag, or to add more coin of a specific of one or two units, to have more of this unit, so you can activate this unit more often, and so you can achieve a specific strategy in relation to what you want to do and what your opponent is trying to do in the game.
So yeah, so what do you think are the common things that players do that you see, maybe newer players or players that just don't really think about this too much?
Mhm.
What do you think there are some mistakes people do?
Yeah, so it's one of the most common mistakes and reason for defeat. Um, it's to recruit indiscriminately and too much. So when we start the game, we have 9 coins in the game, and most good players tend to diminish this number to around 6, 7 coins, and sometimes you can even go as low as only 3 coins in your bag, which is called the tiny bag. So yeah. Uh,
So what this does is it lets you control your own destiny, your own
yeah,
odds, right?
yeah. So
Uh,
the mistake of, if sometimes you see a beginner with a 12 coins in the bag, and he has units of each. He has coins of all of his 4 units in his bag. He doesn't remove any unit from its bag. He's trying to play all his units at once, and what happens is, he will end up not having the 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 coin he wants when he wants them, and also, since he will be spread thin compared to his opponent. For instance, I would take a simple example. Uh, let's say you have um, an archer, and your opponent has a crossbow. Okay, so you want to try to kill his crossbow before he kills your archer, but you have recruited only one archer, so you have 2 coins of archer in your bag, and you have also 8 other coins. Okay, so you have 9 coins, and your opponent has trimmed down his bag to only 6 coins, 3 of which are crossbows. Okay, because he has recruited two more crossbow. So what will happen is you will try to approach his crossbow, and he will most likely have another crossbow in his hands, a crossbow in his hand, and it will come close to you, and you will have to move away with your archer, and then you will be out of coins and of bow coins, if you even drew one when you need one, and he will out maneuver you and shoot your archer. Okay, and then you will be in a bad spot. So that's a basic example, but you generally want to identify a strategy, and many time it can involve two th- 2 or 3 units you want to play, and very often you will have one unit that you will not use in the early game. 1 or 2 unit will not be used, and you will just uh, pop them out on your starting point, and bolster them so that you don't have any coin of this unit left in your bag. And this really makes better tempo for your other units.
Mm. Indeed. And one question listeners might be thinking is, well, tiny bag, 3 coins. Well, that just seems too small. Is there such thing as too small? And I think the answer is no, because you can always grab a coin if you want one, right?
Yeah, the tiny bag is a very specific strategy when you're trying to achieve. It works with certain units,
Mm.
so it's not a regular play, but um, very often. So some units you will want to recruit them uh, in full in the first bag. Like, let's say you want to make an attack. You want to have very threatening cavalry unit on the board. It's your battle strategy. Then you want to recruit in your first bag. You want to play that unit 2 times. So you want to make sure it's not going to get stuck because of another unit you would have played earlier. So you want to make sure to be able to get it out and then recruit it twice. So by the second bag, you can play this unit uh, three times in your second bag, and the smaller your bag will be on the second bag, the more uh, the more efficient this unit will be, because if you have 3 cavalry out of 6 coins, it's not the same as 3 cavalry chips in a bag of 9 coins. Okay, for
Hmm.
obvious reason. Okay, so that's the main aspect of how you want to work with bag management.
Yeah, and you can consider it like, I guess one way to think of it is mathematically, right? So how many
Hmm.
how many unit turns are you getting per bag, right? So like
Yeah.
the average number of times you get to use a unit coin per draw of 3.
Hmm.
And the bigger that number gets, the more efficient, the more you can not only utilize and really hone in on a strategy, but also know what's coming, right? Which is a huge part of the game,
Yeah,
and not leaving it to chance. Um,
yeah, and also one thing, yeah, one thing you want to do very often is, for instance, a unit that you intend to kill enemy units with. You want to make sure you have at least two of this unit in your bag, because most often to kill an enemy unit, the opponent won't just come next to you. Oh, please kill me. You will have to outmaneuver, to move first, and then to take a blow, maybe including taking the initiative to do so. So when you want to do that, you want to have two coins. To take the example of the cavalry of earlier. Let's say I have two cavalries in my bag of 6 coin, and my opponent has the initiative. Then, if I'm one x away from a unit of my opponent, and I have one cavalry in my hand, and I know, because I have a six units in my bag, I have 3 in my hands and 3 left in my bag. So I know exactly what the next 3 units will be. And I know that if I have one cavalry in my hand right now, then in my next hand there will also be a cavalry. So what can I do now is, on my second token, on my second play, I can take the opponent's initiative. Then he makes his last move, and then I can use my cavalry once on my third action of the first turn to attack, and then I take against again the first action, since I took the initiative, and I can make a second attack with the cavalry. So that way you can kill a bolstered unit without retaliation for the opponent. And you allowed that through a proper bag management that gave you more chance to achieve this kind of move.
Alrighty. So specifically, how does one decide, or how does one go about getting that optimal bag? So you mentioned earlier about bolstering
Hmm.
units that you don't really need in the beginning of the game.
Hmm.
So perhaps, I guess, with the way this game is played, there's so many different combinations of unit rosters. You can't. It's not really easy to say always this one first, always this one last. But
Yeah, yeah.
do
But
any come to mind that you say is late game or definitely early game units?
uh, there is an example of the light cavalry, for instance. The light cavalry is really potent, and you want to many times it will add a lot of pressure to your opponent if you are moving your cavalry a lot around. So very often you will see a player recruiting all the 3 cavalries, and sometimes even neutralizing all his other units. So he only has cavalries, light cavalries in its bag. So that's one example of bag management, where you put all the strengths of your strategy on one unit, and then maybe you achieve a good um, a position with this unit, but it's not enough to win the game sometimes. And then with experience, you will know when when is a good time to start recruiting another units to uh, to take to 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 take the relay to continue on with the game.
Hmm. Yeah,
So.
one thing I've fiddled with is reaching deep, so into opponent territory early
Hmm.
with
Yeah,
either light cavalry or the mercenary,
yeah,
and then
or even
when I
the scout.
yeah, and then but when I achieve my goal, that deep, far-reaching control point,
Hmm.
then I just bolster the rest of my coins onto that unit, and then I
Hmm.
focus the rest of my bag on my other units to secure my on
Yeah,
my end, and that's how I
yeah,
finish. Yeah,
yeah.
so that's
What you can do also, for instance, you can, let's say you have a cavalry and a scout and a royal guard. Then you let's say you go forward with your cavalry. You take the opponent's point with your scout on the first bag, which is really amazing. And then when he kills your scout, in its place, you spawn the royal guard, and then you will never be able to take back his control point.
hmm. Okay,
So
so
yeah,
we've got a little start here on bag management. Common errors. We've got some little advice on how to how to perform good bag management.
yeah, and it has to be
Examples.
it has to be evolutive. So you will manage your bag um, all. It's really organic to the strategy. So but it really takes experience to know how many of which unit you need, etc. For instance, I like to play a defensive style, and I really enjoy using the pikemen and the royal guard. And even though I am focusing on those units, I will usually only recruit one in the first bag, because I just want to advance it and bolster it, and then they take a position on the board, and then I can also use other units. So the the um, the bag management needs to suit the strategy you want uh, to play in the game.
Absolutely, 100%. Let's just talk a little bit real quick about specific units that directly mess with your bag management. So I'm of course referring to the mercenary.
Hmm.
That's one of them. And so what's your like real basic 2 cents on how to play a better mercenary?
So the mercenary is in the base game. It's one of the most potent units in the game, and one really efficient way to play it is to just use all its power on the first bag, because it allows you to, in the right circumstances, you can steal a point, a control point of your opponent on the first bag, which is really really strong. And uh, you you do it's almost cheating, like because at the same time you're moving, you're doing things that no other unit can do on its own, meaning no other unit alone can go all the way to can all the other units are limited to two actions, well, to one action actually, because you need to play it and then activate it only once, because you only have two tokens on your on your bag in the beginning. And with Mercenary, you can play it 5 times. You can uh, put it uh, put it in place and activate it 4 times, which is really huge. Which is four times more than the average unit. And so you can achieve a lot of presence on your opponent's side of the board. You can also easily punish and and how do you say, and someone who's not careful with his first play, because let's say I have a cavalry and I play it and I move it forward 1 hex. You can decide to come all the way and kill my cavalry, and I can't do anything about it. So it also puts a restriction on your opponent's opening. So that's quite interesting to note. Um, and in terms of bag management, you will then end up with many mercenaries in your bag, but but you've been doing this recruiting with no cost, because you've been doing actions with every coin you've been playing at the same time. And it allows you to bolster the mercenary quite a bit and be really annoying on the other side of the board. And the other option is to keep it in reserve, but that's less relevant to the subject.
Indeed. So that's definitely one. The other one that comes to mind is the bishop. What's your 2 cents on the bishop?
I don't really know, because I don't play enough nobility.
Okay.
Yeah,
So I like the bishop. With it has a tactic, so you need to play
yeah,
a face-up bishop coin,
uh-huh,
and then you get to recruit, and then the bishop itself can attack or move.
yeah,
So it has that action efficiency built in, but in order to do so, you're recruiting, right? So what I usually end up doing myself is I just recruit more bishops, right? With
yeah.
with with the tactic itself, and then that lets me um, manage my bag to fully utilize the bishop early, or whenever I
Mhm.
trigger whenever I get this going, and then I know what's coming, more bishops, right? Um,
And we stated that having a too big bag is um, is not a good thing, and that recruiting too much is can be detrimental. But if you have the plan to bolster your units, which is sometimes a really good strategy and very important, then recruiting is not is you need to recruit. Okay.
mhm.
And sometimes uh, I I wish I could recruit even faster in some strategies.
Mhm. All right, so
So
the
yeah.
last unit specific. Well, actually, I'm gonna do two more examples here. The first
Uh-huh.
one is two units that stick out to me
Uh-huh.
that really love good bag management, and that's the warrior priest and the swordsman.
So the most specific will be the warrior priest, because is one of the units where you would use the tiny bag, because it has a tremendous power to play an infinite loop of attack. So let's say you're in contact with four two bolstered units, so that's 4 coins. And if you have only 3 coins in your bag, and one of them is the warrior monk, you can play it as its first action, and you kill a unit, and you draw it back again, because it's the only one you can draw, and you can play it and play it and play it and play it and play it until there's no one left. And if you're on a control point, you can also control the point and then move one square. So that's really a very, very dominant strategy right now. And we are in the process of trying to find good defense against this strategy, but it's really very efficient. And but you need to know how to play it properly, when to put it in place, at how to when you're going to go down to three coins, and so it's not very easy to play, but it's not too difficult either. And it's like it's um, it's one of the tricks in the game that you need to know how to play, and the better you're able to play it and the better you're able to counter it, the better you will results you will have. So
Awesome.
that's one. And
Uh,
the warrior,
the
which
swordsman.
one? The
Well,
swordsman.
I it was the other example, but we don't have to go there because your explanation on warrior priest was perfect. That's what I was trying to get at is when you have such a thin bag,
Mm,
in combination with action efficiency units like the swordsman and the warrior priest, then
mhm.
it just becomes
But the
a
warrior priest is really specific that you make this infinite loop. It's the only unit that you need as you really need the exactly three coins in the bag.
okay.
You
All
know,
right, I'll remember
because for
that.
instance, yeah, you need to try
I've
to
never
try
done
to do
it,
it.
so
No,
this is new news to me. I've never done this
okay,
infinite loop
okay.
before.
Well, when you play against it, it can be really really awful. I can give you. I lost recently to it. I was trying to counter it with speeds with fast units,
Mm-hmm.
which is not my specialty. I'm more a defensive control the game.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, where is it? And then for the swordsman, um, you can you can have a very heavy bag of swordsman in the late game mostly, and you will be faster to take the control points because of that. Because you're when you're killing the unit that's guarding a point, then you are moving onto the point, and you can outrace the opponent. Uh,
All right,
mm,
so the last specific unit
mhm,
example I would like to mention real quick is the upcoming super exciting Siege expansion. And
mhm.
if you don't have, do you have images of the units available, or I can send them to you right now? Um, I wanted to talk about the siege tactic, the idea of the siege tactic, and how this is going to play into our
Okay.
idea of
Yeah.
bag management. So yeah, so thank you for the link. What do you think about how siege tactics will adjust or play into our idea of bag management?
I have no idea. I guess I guess it will remain the same.
I think so. It's just, I guess the thing that I think of is before when you bolster units that you're not trying to use in the early game,
Uh huh.
the main reason for that is because you're just getting it out of your bag, right?
Yes. Right.
Now, with siege tactic units, they're the
Mhm.
perfect candidates for
Mhm.
late game units because you're bolstering to get them out of your bag.
Mhm.
And then later in the game, when you've run out of your early game steam
Mhm.
and you start recruiting these guys, then they're
Mhm.
already ready to immediately use their siege tactic because they're already bolstered.
Mm-mm. Yeah, makes sense.
So especially the trebuchet, I think is going to be awesome because it's a very long distance shot. and it has
Mm,
to be bolstered. So that one's going to be
yeah,
nice to just bolster right away in the early game, and
and
then
then you can
later
just
on.
you
Mhm.
can threaten the if he wants to take one of his control points, you can just threaten to shoot from where you from your starting point, basically.
I guess that's it in my brain. Anything else from you for bag management, Felix, that you want to get across to the player
Um,
base?
Let me think. Mm, no, I think it's fine. I think
Yeah, I
we
think
did
I
a
think
pretty good job.
one thing you said that stands out is definitely experience. You got to get games in. You know,
For sure.
you're not gonna get. I mean, you might get a little bit better, but you're not gonna get much better just theorizing and thinking about it. You got to get it on the table, test out what some good bag management ideas. When you do your draft or your random draw of units, try to find the pair that you really want to maximize early game, and go for it.
Yeah,
Um,
I had one more unit composition with bag management to give an example that I think is relevant. It's the crossbow, no, the bow, the archer
mhm.
with the insane. How do you call
Mm.
it?
Yep,
The
that's what it's.
insane.
Yeah.
Um, so if your opponent has mostly doesn't have a cavalry basically and scout and is mostly infantry like pikemen, warrior priest, um, swordsmen, knights, this sort of things,
Mhm.
you can win the game with just the archer and with insane. So the thing is you're filling your bag with only these units, and you give so much mobility to your archer that even if your opponent manages to close in on your archer, you will always be able to move away, and then he will run out of coins to move further towards you, and then you will shoot his units, and you can just kill all your opponent's army on some on a good day with this strategy, um, and it's really relying on bag management. So you really remove everything else most of the time, and you can see that uh, if you only do it with archer coins, then you would have only three archer coins and your royal seal. Okay, so if you add the insane, then you can double essentially the number of active coins. So you would have 6 coins that make you move and a seventh coin that is a little bit useless, and then you will uh, always outmove any opposing unit basically, because the other ones will always have less than 6 coins out of 7 that can move his unit.
Ah, gotcha.
So it's not easy to pull off, but uh, uh, I think it's an interesting example of bag management.
Perfect.
And I can send you maybe a link or two of this kind of thing to exemplify what we've been discussing.
That would be awesome. My final thought is just to remember, folks, to think of it as, um, you know, I'm gonna put the numbers up in the video, hopefully, but there is a certain amount of luck or odds that you're playing with in a normal game, as is when you start the game, and it's up to you. You get to control how those odds will look immediately in the future each time you refill your bag. So that's the idea of bag management, and I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thank you again, Felix, for joining me.
It's a pleasure.
Look forward to our chat about drafting next time, and I hope you guys have a great week and get some games on the table.
Yeah, and see you on the battlefield.